How to coach others to get results and take action. That's the conversation we're having today on the Business Coaching Success Podcast. Let's jump in. BJ O'Neill here with the Business Coaching Success Podcast. So glad you're here, where I share with you strategies, tools, and tips to be able to grow your business coaching practice to six figures and beyond as a Christian business coach. Let's jump in. Well, welcome. Glad that you are here. The conversation, the questions that I get oftentimes is all about, okay, so I got a client. We're going to help them grow their business, but how do I get them to take action? How do I motivate them? How do I help them have willpower? And the list goes on and on and on, right? Well, here's the thing. Everybody's different. Everybody's personality is different. Some, they just have let's go, let's do this. They want to run to the brick wall. They're just, let's go. Others apprehensive. And there's reasons for it. I'm going to break down 4 areas and reasons why and things that you should consider both in the prospecting phase and both when you get a client. So let me give you context. If you're working with someone in the prospecting phase, it's very easy. You know what can happen for them. You see opportunities and whatnot, but if they're not catching that, then you may not be on the same page and you're not equal. Therefore, they're not really excited. And you may be wondering, like, I don't understand. Like, I showed them how, they can move their business forward, how they can earn well, how they can hire more people to do the things that they're really wanting to do. And the list goes on. Same thing for clients. And so while yes, it's going to be different for different individuals, at the same time, we are created in a similar fashion. There's some things you need to consider. Before I jump into that, real quick, if you're listening to the podcast, you've been watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple for a little bit, and you really are considering and building a business coaching practice that you get to own, you get to control, that gives you flexibility, that helps you do the things that you are really looking to do, we can help you. You could go to businesscoachmastery.com. That's businesscoachmastery.com. There's some information there that you can get to be able to discover exactly how we give you a complete and total done-for-you business coaching practice. You can even schedule a quick call to learn more if you're interested, so you can determine if it's worth learning more about or not. Okay. 4 areas I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes to consider as you build relationships, as you work with prospects, and as you work with clients. Number 1, it's called the blind spot of proximity. We all have it, okay, in just different versions. It's essentially why we can't see our own labels, why we can't see our own both challenges and even opportunities, right? So for visuals, if you're watching, this will make sense. If you're just listening, I'll walk you through it. If you're holding up, if you're at the grocery store and you pull a can of soup off the shelf, and you look at if you put that can all the way up to your face, you can't see that entire label. Actually, you can't see any of it at all. It's very, very blurry, and it doesn't allow you to see the big picture. So not only it's so close that it's blurry, it also is so close you can't see everything else. What's the point here? Well, these things happen with businesses where the business owner, and by the way, if you own a business, this might be you, where we're so close to the fire, if you will, we can't see all the other stuff that's kind of going on around us. And therefore, when we got things so close, we create patterns, we create loops, and we create habits. Therefore, we only begin to see what's right in front of us. We only begin to see what we're seeing on a consistent basis. We're not even paying attention to things that are going on around us, problems, even opportunities that could be literally right next to us or sitting right under our nose. We can't see them. This is what you've probably have heard the term confirmation bias. We only confirm, or only see rather, and confirm what we already believe based upon what we're seeing. And so why? Because the brain is wired in such a way that without proper context, learning more, whether it's a problem or an opportunity, stresses the brain. This is a science-based, this is the way God created us. As if you're listening to this, you probably know that our entire business coaching network is of faith. And if you're a Christ follower and you're a believer, we understand that we are wired in a way that God created a brain, God created who we are, and so on. And when we begin to harness and understand how the brain moves, it operates, how it thinks, yes, it might be slightly different for others. There are some people, by the way, who are becoming more aware. They're working on self-awareness. They're working through it. They might use, they talk at our team all the time, or talk with our team all the time about the usage of tools like assessment tools, personality assessment tools to help bring light to uh, our blind spots, if you will. So what do we do? Well, number one, as just an application to that, as the coach, both in the prospecting phase and in the client phase, is that we begin to shed light to those individuals, to our prospects and clients. That is, look, I am your outside voice, helping you see what you can't. I'm essentially another set of eyes. And you want to build that relationship that way, that they begin to value your presence. They begin to give value who you are, what you bring to the table, because of being able to highlight things that they likely can't see. That's the application. One, we understand that they've got a blind spots. There's things that they're going to see. So if you're working with them and you're helping them to see things that they can't, like for instance, in our business coaching community, we use an assessment tool using a high-profile software that lines out what's possible for their business in about 45 minutes. It's really cool. That's the visual. Well, even in doing that very thing, what we're doing in that time period, we're showing them how we can earn 100 to 300 grand or more annually in that 45-minute time by small incremental improvements in multiple areas. It gives a significant visual representation. Well, even with that visual representation, if we're not careful as the coach, we can easily be excited, but don't understand why they're not excited. Well, if they've got cognitive bias going on, that can prevent them from moving forward. This is the reason why we want to make sure they understand we're here to help you see what you can't, and I'm here to be another set of eyes to give you insights that you may be looking for. Number two is the neuroscience of the aha moment. This one is simply this. You know in your own life when you have a recognition or you finally catch on to something where it's like, oh, now I get it, right? I was telling our team at our mastermind class yesterday that for many years, my middle son, math, just like me, it does not come natural. He has to work really, really hard at it. And my wife's an educator, and so many nights I can remember back especially in middle school, that when they were at the kitchen table and she's working through it, and he's just not getting it and getting frustrated, and maybe you've been there before, and then all of a sudden it finally connects. And he's like, oh. Jeez. Why was that so hard? It's that simple. I'll never forget hearing some of those moments. But that's the aha moment. Here's what's happening, and here's what you want to do. The aha moment is when a burst of gamma kind of hits the brain. It's a little bit like dopamine in the same regards, but it's a gamma release. That's what makes someone feels good. It gets them excited. It means there's hope. To my middle son, is like, oh, now I can do this, right? Well, when you're working with a client or a prospect and you give them an aha moment, here's what's happening. That gamma release, they are, and I'll mentally going to give you this visual. They are seeing you one step closer as to being the problem, helping them be the guide and the problem solver, because we don't want to just tell them what to do. We don't want to just show them what to do. We want to guide them along the journey to help them get that aha moment on themselves. We could go do all this for them, but they're going to completely miss the emotional connection. That's why we want to help show them and guide them so that they're connecting on their own. But here's the point. Those are also called quick wins. So when they're getting those aha moments, that's when you want to lean in and help them move something along further, because their excitement level has it's just risen for a bit. That's where you want to help them take action in those moments. Third thing, The why power. This is addressing essentially the resistance and the follow through, which it happens. But why does it happen? That's the thing. So I'll give you context. If you're working with a client and you're going through a strategy, helping them implement a strategy, you've given them homework, you get to your next coaching session, no dice. They didn't do anything. Well, if we're not careful, because we're not thinking about it, we can go, man, what's wrong with them? I don't understand. This is so easy. I've laid out the steps for them. I've shown them what to do. All you got to do is go do it. Why? Well, that's the wrong question. We need to be able to begin to understand. There could be some things happening here. One, it could be fear. That's a real thing. And the fear could be for a number of different reasons. They could be scared to find out, especially when working with finances. This happens all the time, to where they just don't love knowing the truth. This is for all of us, by the way. We all block out things that we are uncomfortable with. I won't say all. Many people block it out naturally because of fear. And that fear could be what they perceive, right? I remember one of our coaches several years ago was working with somebody, and man, they were getting it done. Growth was happening, but guess what? The growth scared the business owner. They actually discovered, I don't know if really risk taking and growth like this, like the adrenaline for them was just a little too much, right? So they began to slow down. Why? Because they discovered they were scared of growth. I mean, it's a real thing that can happen for some people. Not a lot, but it can happen, right? But that's the fear center of the brain. When the fear center at the brain is working, this is often what elevates procrastination, especially to a new path, right? So if you're showing someone, hey, here's a new path that we can help you grow XYZ, well, we understand it as the coach, we get it, it makes sense to us, but that doesn't mean it naturally, automatically is going to make sense to them. We have to make sure that we're helping them to discover why this is possible. So what's the application here? One, we got to figure out what they're scared of, if it's fear. The second thing is, based upon their personality type, let's say that they're working with their team, and maybe the business coach is wired in a manner that they don't like confrontation, or they perceive any type of just challenging conversation like, hey, I need you to go do X, Y, and Z. They feel like they're telling someone to do something, and it feels confrontational to them, even though that's not confrontation. So what happens? They allow the employee to do it their way, and they don't get it fully done. And so we got to work on that, right? But we don't know that if you don't ask. So when you see procrastination, you got to dig a little bit. Ask great questions to help them connect to their own emotion to this whole thing. It's like, hey, hey Tom, so you didn't get any of that done. What's really going on here? Like what's up? What's happening? Like press in and lean in a little bit to discover and to learn. Don't just make the assumption that they were busy. That may be what they tell you, but you need to peel the onion back a little bit more to really get down to the root cause of why procrastination exists. Because until you get to the root cause, you're not going to be able to help them move forward. Okay? There's that. Last thing, paying attention to the environment. We call this just the habits and environmental design. All right? Here's a simple way to look at it. Okay, we're giving them, like in our coaching system, we go through one strategy at a time and one step at a time. So we're helping a business to myopically work through implementing a strategy. I don't care if it's increasing their prices. I don't care if it's hiring a sales manager. I don't care if it's helping them be more unique in their business. Doesn't matter. We approach it with so that we don't bring overwhelm. All right. So even though we have a complete and total step-by-step process to do this, if they're not following through, it doesn't matter. Well, not everyone's wired the same way. And so even we know the steps, and we know what's going to happen with those steps. We got to make sure that they're implementing them. So if you recognize that they are just slow to connect to getting them done, they're not getting them done, and they're saying things like, oh, I was just really busy or whatever, you got to help them to truly move forward and forward progress. So paying attention to their environment is important. For instance, if you get an opportunity to be able to coach someone in person and you recognize their desk is like super, super messy, That's an indication that they may not be really good with organization. Obviously, their desk is a mess. Well, if their desk is a mess, then their brain might be a mess, and their ability to get things done, because they're just moving from task to task to task. They're not completing anything. They're putting things on one piece of paper, over a piece of paper over here. They're losing the paper. I mean, the list goes on and on. And so, well, what do? Well, you got to help them, period. So here's one of the ways that you do it. And really, like in our world, in that step-by-step process, we follow this guideline. What gets scheduled gets achieved. In other words, you have to help them to own the tasks that need to happen to get into their calendar, and they hold themselves accountable just like they would a lunch appointment. We're not pushing it off. We're not doing anything else. We want to pay attention to make sure it gets done at the same time. I don't know what that is at all. Welcome to AI. I'm not sure exactly. If you're not watching, fireworks just happened behind my head. Apparently, it's one of my AI tools decided to have a fireworks show. That was interesting and distracting for someone who already is easily distracted. But there you go. But paying attention to their environment and helping them to just get it done. Don't just tell them to get it done. Don't just say, "All right, by the next coaching session, make sure you have this, this, and this." Ask them this question: when are you going to schedule a couple of hours to get these items completed? And here's what you do. They say, all right, I'm going to put it at 10 o'clock from 10 to 12 on Tuesday. Awesome. Then what we do at 1 o'clock Tuesday, we schedule a task to follow up. Hey, did you get your items completed? They need to know that you are their, remember, our outside voice, accountability partner, okay? So if you'll follow these 4 areas, and yes, you can go lots deeper into all these areas, but just at a surface level, if you start working in these 4 areas, you have a significantly high chance of helping someone to move forward, even in new things that they're doing, exposure to items that they've never thought about, doing things that they may even feel like it's uncomfortable. If you'll follow these 4 areas, you're going to be able to help them to be successful and to achieve the things that they truly want to do in life. Profitability and growing the business is just a tool to helping them to do whatever it is that they want in life, right? And that's what we really are drawn in from a stand of purpose to help them do, okay? Until next time, take care.